Hello, friends, and welcome to the Exploring Washington State podcast. My name is Scott Cowan, and I'm the host of the show. Each episode, I have a conversation with an interesting guest who is living in or from Washington State. These are casual conversations with real and interesting people. I think you're going to like the show. So let's jump right in with today's guest. After much technical difficulty, we're going to get this thing started. I am with Rachel Crick and Chris Pugh from As Many Weirdos as Possible. Thank you both for being patient. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
All right. So I'm just going to jump in. Rachel, I want to just give me 30 seconds background story about you. How'd you get to where we are today? Your life in 30 seconds.
My life in 30 seconds. I am from Seattle. I worked in the music industry starting in about 1988. And then I still do stuff in the music industry. I had the idea for As Many Weirdos as Possible about 4 years ago. And here we are.
All right. Chris, you get 30 seconds.
Well, that's pretty good. 30 seconds. Okay, I'm also from Seattle, sort of. I'll just say an unnamed suburb south of Seattle. And I went to Evergreen State College where I studied interpretive dance. No, I didn't. I did some audio engineering and film and weird stuff, and then I played in a bunch of bands, and I like photography, and at some point Rachel asked me if maybe I would take some pictures with them. Was that 30 seconds?
Here you go, man. See, that was awesome. All right. So Rachel, 4 years ago, you get this idea, and was it just like photograph a few weirdos, and then it's like a bunch of weirdos, and then you just decided to do as many as possible? What was how did we get here?
4 years ago, after a health crisis, I was thinking to myself, what is my legacy? And I started thinking about my passions, which were photography and storytelling, and my past, which was working in the music industry. And I had the idea to take portraits of my friends and have them handwrite anecdotal narratives out on one piece of paper, and I would pair the portraiture with the handwritten anecdotes. And the idea was that I would do about 50 of them before I even told anyone what I was doing, to make sure I was committed. And then I told my friend Pamela about it, and she was in, and she was like, we're not doing 50 of these, we're doing 150 of these. And then every time we got close to being done, Pam was like, more. And so it just continued to grow. The name As Many Weirdos as Possible came from a conversation that I had with Art Chantry, who I worked with at the Rocket. I asked him if he wanted to be a part of this thing that I was doing. And when he got on the phone call to learn more about it, he said, so what's the goal here? To photograph as many weirdos as possible. And myself and Pamela and another photographer, Alex, who was on the project at that time, we just laughed and laughed and laughed, and we changed the name. It was originally Ironic Iconic, and I changed it to we changed it to As Many Weirdos as Possible. And then Art Chantry, yeah, thanks. And then Art Chantry very graciously designed the logo.
So has it made it a difficult, quote unquote, sales pitch to approach somebody and say, hey, you're a weirdo, I want to photograph you? I mean, but no.
I would say 99% of the time, no. There have been a few people who have declined because of the term.
Really?
Yes.
Really? So they declined. Was it along the lines of like, I'm not weird? What are you talking about? Like super defensive or?
No. Let me see if I can find. There was an email.
And also, can you tell us who declined? Can you give us any names? I want to know who's not weird.
Yeah, this guy Dave Blackburn declined. Dave, he went by Concave Dave back in the day, and he ran the Beastie Boys store, extra large, down in Belltown. It was a secondhand store down in Belltown, and he was also super into hip hop. And I was trying to find the email that he sent me where he said, I am in the middle of a lifestyle brand launch, and I can't get the weirdo part of my title past my
Hey, Rachel, is there any chance I could get a lifestyle brand launch also? I don't know. Maybe you could look into it. I've been meaning to. I just don't know if my brand's as salient as it used to be. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
my God.
Concave Dave passed,
All
but
right.
Yeah.
and maybe there's been a few other people, but that's the one that I just know Dave. I knew Dave really well back in the day, and I know his sense of humor, so it just made me really laugh. It made me laugh when he said that.
So, Chris, what was it like when they approached you, and how'd they, quote unquote, I'm making, air quotes around the word, sell you on the idea? What was the pitch?
Oh, no, I begged them to let me join. What are you talking about? They didn't have to sell me. My career in photography was going nowhere. And, oh, geez, somebody's about to back into me, I think. Uh-oh.
So Chris is our first guest who's participating in this interview from his car, folks. So if you hear a crunch, we'll.
Yeah. So no, I mean, I started looking at some of the photography. Well, after they photographed me, and then I don't know what happened. Maybe we were out somewhere, and I mentioned that I was also into photography. I like taking pictures, and then I think I shared with them like a portfolio website that I have, and they asked me if I wanted to take some pictures also.
Okay.
Something like that. Is that how you remember it, Rachel? Something like that?
Yeah, I mean, Chris, from day one, we asked him if he wanted to have his picture taken and be a part of the work that we were doing, and I think that he loved what we were doing, and he was like, "Let me help you with this," and he was immediately connecting us with people that he knew to help get more people to be photographed. And then one day he said, "Hey, I'm a photographer. I'd love to help," and immediately we were like, "Oh my God, you're a photographer? I absolutely, come on!" And one of the biggest pleasures that I've had doing this work is watching Chris's work just grow and grow and grow. And I mean, he's just a phenomenal photographer. It's been really amazing watching his work.
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity because, like I said, my career was going nowhere. Damn it.
And now you're a star, a superstar.
I mean, it's taken off a little bit.
Yeah.
At least I get to see some of my work printed, which never happened before. Also, at that show the other day, I got 2 free drinks.
Bonus. Be a photographer, a weirdo photographer.
So I'm just saying, things are happening. Okay.
Who? Oh my God, this is gonna be awesome. Who is the first person that you approached and took the picture and got the narrative from?
The first person that we photographed was Alice Wheeler, who was a photographer during that time and who has not quite yet given me her narrative.
Okay.
The first
She took a picture for Creep. She took the cover photo for one of our single on Sub Pop. She's great.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who the first person was that actually gave me their story. I don't know if I remember who the very first story was, but the first person photographed was Alice.
All right. And as we're recording this in early November of 2025, how many complete photographs and narratives do you have?
Over 300.
Over 300. How many incomplete? Since we already know there's one. Who else is missing their homework?
Oh, are we calling naming names?
No, we're not naming names. Just how many. You can name names if you want. I mean, it'll be fun. But I'm not going
to. We're in the middle right now of organizing all of the work, and I met 2 young people recently, people who are younger than I am, who have just kind of jumped in and are helping. Their names are Eric and Sarah, and they're helping me organize all of the files. And as we speak, my 2 enormous binders full of handwritten stories are being scanned. So I will know very soon in the near future how many stories I'm missing, but I believe that I am missing about 25 to 35 stories.
Okay.
Not surprised. The story's the hard part. The picture's easy. Well, it's not easy, but that reminds me, I have Loud's story for you sitting on my desk.
Excellent.
He did hand it over at the time of photographing, which is what they're supposed to do. But some people have slipped through the cracks here. They forgot, or they said they wrote it and they never really did. Yeah. Weirdos. You can't trust weirdos sometimes. You can't.
Yeah, you just can't. What? Okay. So 300 and some. That's a lot. How many more weirdos do you think are out there?
I remember walking down the street in Belltown with Jared Lovejoy from Tasty Shows, and he said to me, "You could probably get 500 people." And I thought to myself, hell no. And here we are at over 320.
Yeah.
We absolutely could keep going. The end goal of this has always been to produce a book. And so we're already at a place where 300, a portrait on one side of a page of a book and a story on the other page of the book is a lot of pages in a book. So we're already trying to figure out if it's going to be multiple volumes. And at some point it just has to stop, right? So there are a few key people that we're still trying to photograph, but for the most part, the portraiture work is coming to a close.
Okay.
Well, I guess my job will be done here.
Your job is never done.
So if you're looking for a photographer, Chris is always available for freelance work. Look up Chris Pugh online, and he will help you with your photography needs in the greater Seattle area. There you go.
I would.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true.
How do we determine where we're taking these photos? Does the weirdo say, "I want you to take a photo of me here," or is it kind of like, "We want to do this here," or is it brainstorming? What do we do?
Each person, when we approach them about having their portrait taken, we ask them to think of a location in the Pacific Northwest that specifically ties them to their history. It doesn't necessarily have to tie them to the story that they're telling us, because that is a little bit difficult with the disappearance of many locations.
Okay.
So we photograph from Olympia to Bellingham, and each person picks a location. So when you are looking at the portraits in a gallery, or you're eventually reading the book, you'll see a caption underneath the photo that says where the photo was taken and why that place is significant, which has also given us the ability to capture landmarks before places are destroyed, which we already have lost a couple of places where we photographed. Those places no longer exist. And we are also able to document little bits and pieces of the region that have a history specifically tied to music that may have not been documented in the past.
Okay. Chris, this question's specifically for you. Of the photographs that you've taken, where's the coolest location that you took the photo at?
I can't remember most of the places. Well, wait a minute. I can do better than that. Well, I mean, they've been all over the place. Let's see. Well, I really liked where I shot Loud the other day. It was a park. And, well, he told me that he wanted to do it there. So there was a fence on the edge of the tennis court, which I liked. And then his story was that he'd climbed up the fence really drunk and fallen off and broken his leg. Well, that's why he wanted to get the picture taken there.
Okay.
That doesn't really answer your question,
purposes?
does it?
No, it's for insurance purposes, maybe.
Well, then he got pulled over, I think, on the way to the hospital. But
okay.
Yeah, I don't feel like any of the locations have been like, extraordinary. They've all just been, relevant to that person and, like part of their memory. I think there was a back alley down on 2nd Avenue that was really cool.
Where was yours taken at? And why was it relevant?
Well, we did a couple of them. One of them was, Rachel, we did the one at Dick's, but we couldn't. It was at the apartment building I lived on Capitol Hill in the 80s. Okay. The Winters building. It used to be called the Winters building. Kitty corner to Dick's. I was standing in the doorway.
Yep. I'm looking at it right now.
That apartment was $325 a month. And I shared it with my girlfriend. And on occasion, I rented out the closet to people.
Okay. Rachel, how about you with the photos you've taken? Any locations pop to mind?
I think one of the funnest shoots that I did was with Steve Manning, who I worked with at the Rocket, and he went on to work at Sub Pop. And his story is about seeing Bikini Kill play in the basement of St. Joseph's Church up on the hill, and how it was the night before his sister's wedding, and he was stage diving and he broke his arm. And the next day was his sister's wedding. And so he lied to his family and told them that he was in a bike accident or something, because he didn't want his family to think that he was irresponsible for stage diving at a punk rock show in the basement of a Catholic church. And so we went to St. Joe's and we were walking around the church, and I looked up at the church and the windows are boxed in. So they're set back within the building. So there's ledges to the windows. And so I said to Steve, will you climb up the building and stand on the ledge and jump off? And he was absolutely game on. And I would say probably 20 times he climbed up the side of the building and launched himself off the side of the building. And I caught him mid-air, arms and legs spread, and it's one of my favorite photos. And it was just
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
It was at the show. It was at the show downtown, and it's up at the Crocodile right now. But
It is.
it's
How
in
could
one
I
of
have
the,
missed that?
yeah. But it's such a fun picture in the story. It was just so fun. And every time he hit the ground, he would tuck and roll. And then I called him the next day, and I was like, "Hey, how are you feeling?" He was like, "Oh my God,
Are you
I'm so
sore?
Yeah.
I think I know Steve from Olympia. I think I might have known him way back in the olden days.
Oh, maybe.
I'll have to double check on that.
Rachel, not that you just on cue, my neighbor decides to start leaf blowing. So if you hear this background, it's going to go on for the remainder of the show and the rest of my life. It's 4 hours a day of gas powered leaf blowing. Rhonda, I'm going to butcher her last name, Pelican.
Yeah, that's right.
What building is that in front of? It's an old florist shop.
Yeah, it's Flowers. So it was, a long time ago, it was a florist shop. And then in the 80s and 90s, it became a cafe. And it actually was still open when Rhonda and I took that picture.
Mm-hmm.
It was open forever, but then it closed. It closed for a bunch of, I think it was health violations, and also some safety issues happened just a couple of years ago, and they closed it.
$5 margaritas.
It's on the Ave.
It was on the Ave. Yeah, it was like 40th and University.
Yeah. When I first
looked
at
that place has been there forever.
Yeah.
Was there forever.
Okay.
And that's a perfect example, because that is gone now. So Flowers no longer exists.
Flowers is gone. And then Maurice Owens in front of, is that the Tacoma Dome?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I see half of, Taco, so I'm guessing it's Tacoma, right? Okay.
Yeah. Maurice was in a band called High Performance. They were a hip hop band hip hop act group out of Tacoma. Mm-hmm. And they were signed to Nasty Mix. And they had a regional hit called Do You Want to Party? And Maurice, the great example of someone who wanted to be photographed in Tacoma.
Said nobody ever. I'm from Tacoma. I can say that.
We've done a few Tacoma shoots and a few Olympia shoots.
Yeah. No, Olympia's fine. Tacoma, though. Just kidding. No, just kidding.
I like Tacoma.
Really? Why?
It reminds me of Seattle like 80 years ago.
That's true.
It's got a certain vibe that you don't really get in Seattle anymore. And,
it's growing up there as a kid, I couldn't wait to get to Seattle. I moved to Seattle after college. Loved living in Seattle. Loved living there. Moved back to Tacoma in my mid to late 30s and couldn't wait to leave again. Anyway, but I digress. This isn't about me. There's so many questions I could ask you about so many of these weirdos, but you mentioned a book, you're doing events. This is a nonprofit thing. You really committed to this project. This wasn't just, I'm going to take some pictures. I mean, you really, kudos to you, committed to this. And you're making something and you used the word legacy when we started. So you are creating and capturing people who contributed to the fabric of our region. And I think that's awesome. Putting you on the spot, when's the book coming out? Ha ha ha.
Right. So I mentioned earlier that we're just getting the compiling everything, checking to see like who hasn't signed a release, who hasn't given us their story, who hasn't given us their caption for the book. And all of that work is being done right now by 2 volunteers who are amazing. And I'm so grateful for them. And the stories are being scanned and all of that stuff. But once that's all done, my plan is to reach out to the people who have yet to give me everything that I need and say, you have a month. And at that point, we'll, your caption will, if we don't hear from you, your caption will say this. And if we don't hear from you, then we won't have a story and it'll be incomplete. And I don't know yet what I'll do for people who I haven't gotten a story from. I'd like to be able to include everyone. Anyways, then all the files have to go to John Hubbard, who is a designer that's putting the book together, and then we have to find a publisher. So when is the book coming out? I would love for it to be done in the next 2 years.
Okay.
But who knows?
Yeah, because book publishing takes a while. Yeah, it absolutely does. All right. And how did we come up with the name Poser Productions?
Oh, I had to get an LLC. Before we were a nonprofit, I needed a name I needed to create a business name. And so I chose Poser Productions because it made me laugh.
So I'm seeing that humor is important throughout this project to keep us motivated. Okay. Like it. All right. And we can gloss over because it's super simple to get a nonprofit going. It's super easy. You didn't have to go through any paperwork or any headaches to do all of that.
Well, interestingly, what I ended up doing, which was really great, was becoming fiscally sponsored through an organization called Shunpike.
Okay.
They are the overarching umbrella that manages all of the paperwork. So I didn't have to do all that. I didn't have to put together a board. We don't have to do any paperwork or anything like that. They are the ones that manage all of our finances. So I don't have to be worried about that. And it's been a really great relationship that we've had for the past 3 years. And it just got noticed that we're up for renewal, which is awesome. And it's been a blessing to be able to rely on their services. They also help us with grant writing, and they help us with opportunities and classes and all kinds of things. So it's really an excellent organization.
And how did you find out about them?
Google.
I've heard of that.
Just once, I want somebody to say Bing. Just once. I just want somebody to say Bing. Just once. I've never heard
Never
of it
going
before.
to happen.
I know, but I don't rain on my parade, man. Come on. Where are they based out of? Are they
Google or Bing?
Shunpike?
Oh, Shunpike. They're here. They're local, Seattle.
I've never heard of them before, and I've never used Google to look at them. I'm scrolling their website right now, and I'm thinking this is a really kind of cool concept that they have to help out this. All right.
Yeah, they've got a lot of people that they support.
Why did you decide? Most of us would have said, I just want to take pictures. Okay. They're going to send Chris out. Chris, I want you to take these 6 weirdos photos. But the narrative piece, where did you get the idea to do a handwritten? First off, kudos to you for making people actually write something, because if you asked me, you would never be able to read it because my penmanship is so bad. I could type it, but I can't write anymore. But
I had that problem.
Yeah. Where did you get the idea to include these narratives?
Well, when I started to think about this, there's a lot of loss in this project. There's the loss of the portraiture, the formal portrait. People now take selfies, and having your family portrait taken or having a portrait taken of you, that's starting to be a lost art. The art of storytelling is also going in the same direction. Oral storytelling and handwritten narratives and things like that. And handwriting and cursive is so personal. And we're losing that. Children are no longer taught cursive and handwriting in school, and so it's another lost art. There are also losses in this where we're losing people and we're losing places. So when I started thinking about the project or the work or what I wanted to do, I knew I wanted it to be portraits, but I also knew that I wanted it to be stories. And so how do you combine the two? And it just seemed like they went hand in hand.
I think, I mean, I really, I think what you're doing is, I can't remember how I've been aware of it for a while, right? I'm off and on. It pops into my periphery. I think my wife went to one of your events in Seattle. Like I've said to both of you, I know some of your weirdos, and they're my weirdos too. And I love the idea that you're memorializing. I hate that word, but I mean, I think it is. This will last longer than any of us, and I think that's very important. And I think what you're doing deserves. I can't wait till you put it out in book form. Frankly, I think that's, even though books are. Oh, I want to look at it online. We all want to look at everything. We all want to Google everything. No one wants to read, but yet this is a finished product of work, a body of work in physical will be very cool.
A couple of things about that. So when we had our show at Base Camp Galleries in the old Bergman Luggage Building last summer, people would come in and they would look at the stories and the pictures, and we got comments like, the portraits are beautiful, but it's the stories that really made me think. They made me remember my own youth. They made me pause and think about things. And we had people that were reading the stories and getting emotional. Some people actually left in tears. We had people come back week after week. We were there for 6 weeks, and people would come back week after week to take time to read the stories. There were 100 of them in the space. And I remember Charles Cross said to me, "This is amazing, but I can't stand on these cement floors and read all these stories. It hurts my feet. It's meant to be a book." And so I'm very much looking forward to it being a book. These stories also are going to be preserved a second way, and that is at the University of Washington Music Library has agreed to take the handwritten narratives and the portraits when it's all done. So I don't need to have 3 binders full of stories sit in my closet after this is done. So I'll be able to take those and give them to the University of Washington. They'll be preserved.
Okay.
Along with the portraits.
Now I want you to tell tales about your weirdos. Tell me some fun stories about some of these people.
Chris, what do you got?
Well, I don't know. Got any, can you give me any names?
No, I want you to pick them.
I can't, my brain's not good enough to just think of some. I've read a bunch of the stories, but I can't really remember any one in particular, if that's what you're thinking, except the one I just told you about, Loud falling off the fence.
Tell us your story, Chris.
Yeah, what's your story?
I can't. I don't know. What is it? Hang on. Wait, do you have it there, Rachel?
I can pull it up.
Did you open up your binder? No. It's what is it? The one about Muzak?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, there was a time when I was working at Muzak, also known as Sub Pop's unofficial shipping department, and Grunge Incubator Muzak Incorporated. So I think it has something to do with getting fired from there. Let's just say I'd been warned several times about my wardrobe choices, and we're working on a production floor. We're not much interaction with the general public, but our manager wanted us to maintain a certain decorum that most of us were not capable of. But that said, there were some violations that were probably more extreme than others. So I'd come to work with holey jeans, which was the fashion at the time.
Right.
and I think it was like some holy jeans, and there's possible I had a pair of fishnet stockings underneath actually, so that were showing through, which was also. And he said, he came to me and was like, Chris, we've talked about this before, and afraid I'm going to have to let you go because of this. And I tried to explain to him that I hadn't intentionally come to work like that. It was more likely the case that I was just wearing the same clothes that I'd had on the night before.
And in an effort to get on to your job on time, you
right, exactly. I made it to work. Exactly. Okay. I think he should have been grateful for that. But then I got fired, and I had to go get a job selling tokens at a strip club down in Pioneers, down by the market.
That was your next job after music?
Yeah. It's the only place it would have me.
Wardrobe wasn't a problem there, I see. Okay.
Yeah, they didn't say much about, just you had to show up on time. And not disclose the customers. I think there was certain confidentiality. You weren't supposed to talk about who you sold tokens, who was coming through the door. Could have been people that you might have been a couple of people that I knew from around town. So
okay,
that's still confidential.
Right. Yeah.
Not at liberty to discuss who they were, of course.
That's
unless for money.
Unless for money.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible.
Rachel, you've reviewed these stories. Share some snippets. What stands out to you?
My favorite. I have some favorite stories. There's a really great story by Kurt Danielson from TAD about how he and some friends, including Dan Peters, were walking home one night on the Ave, and they were approached by these guys who they said were like wearing weightlifting outfits, like complete with the weightlifting belts on. Like, I don't know why you walk down the street with that on, but whatever. And they were confronted by them. And then one of his friends got down on the ground and was like rolling around or something and like agitating these guys. And they were like, come on, knock it off. And they got back to their apartment. And as they were trying to go into the apartment, the guys rolled up on them from behind and there was a fight, and Dan Peters went through the front glass window, and it was like a day or two or a week or something prior to Mudhoney's first European tour, like broke it, like dislocated his shoulder. And it's just, but the way that Kurt tells the story is just really like, you just read it and you're like, oh my gosh, what is happening here? And then another great story is by Paul Schur, who was the bassist from Flop. And his story is just hilarious. But
I love his story. He was so great too when he stood up and basically told that story. He's so funny.
We had a storytelling event at Town Hall, and Paul told his story. This was a couple of weeks ago, October. And his story is about going to a show and at the let out, yelling, "Party at my house." And a bunch of kids go back to his house and they have this big party, and the police come. They're called for, noise complaint. And when they come to the door, someone at the door flips the cops off, and that pisses the cops off. And they break down the door and they come in and they drag everybody and they put them in a paddy wagon and they drive them down to the precinct or whatever. But on the way there, they're turning the corners really fast and everybody's falling all over each other and they're laughing and cracking up, and they go to jail and they're separated in jail. But while they're in jail, Paul ends up learning how to play poker by whoever else is in the jail cell with him. Then everybody gets released. And instead of going home, they all go to a barbecue where they just tell everyone about the night before and how they just got out of jail. And then when they get home, their house is burning to the ground, like full on fire trucks, house burning to the ground. And someone hears a neighbor say, well, that's one way to get him out of the neighborhood.
Oh my God.
A good one.
It's a really great story.
Oh, As I'm scrolling, and I'm trying not to ask you any like specific questions about specific people, but I got to ask on this one on Kathy Faulkner. And you said that they contribute to where they wanted the location. Where on earth was that photo taken?
Okay, so our photographer Rosetta Greek is also she's an incredible artist. She's a painter and she's a sculptor, and she makes all kinds of amazing things, and she puts together photo montages in using Photoshop. And so everything you see in Kathy's photo is actually photographed by Rosetta. Rosetta is lucky enough to work at the Seattle Opera. And so some of the pieces in our work, just a handful, are a little bit more creative. And Kathy, her radio name was the late Kathy Faulkner. And so we came up with the idea of photographing Kathy in a way that, so people would think when people would hear them on the radio station say the late Kathy Faulkner, people would send flowers to the radio station because they thought she was dead or whatever, right? So we had the idea of photographing her very much alive, but also, looking a little bit like she could be dead. So that is what that photo is about, which if someone was listening to this, to me tell this, I'm doing a terrible job, but it's basically her dressed all in black. And Rosetta was able to, she got permission from the Seattle Opera to use the clothing and the space to photograph Kathy. And then Kathy brought in a bunch of things from her career that she's photographed with in the photo. We were able to do a few of those kind of very creative montage type of works. Also, we did something similar. Rosetta did something similar with Jesse Higman, who was an artist back in the day. And she did something similar with Jerry Everard, who is co-owner of Numos, and with Carrie Ockrey, who was the former singer of Hammerbox and the Rockfords and Goodness. Those are all images that are beautiful pieces of art. I mean, all of the photos are beautiful pieces of art, but those are just a little bit different.
Yes, they are. One specific question about the Kathy Faulkner. She's holding a picture in her arm, and I can't really tell on my monitor, but it's got to have something to do with Seattle, but I want to say it looks like Uncle Fester from the Addams Family, and I know that can't be right. But do you know off the top of your head who that is?
Yes, that is a program from Andy Wood. It's a memorial service from Andy Wood from Mother Love Bone.
Okay. And on my monitor, I couldn't. Okay. That really ties in.
And this portrait is has to do with Seattle. She's surrounded by her record collection of beautiful albums and records that are all Seattle musicians, and this photo of the Space Needle in the background, and Andrew Wood's.
Which, if I'm being very honest, I was staring at, trying to figure out what that photo was in the background, going, what is that? And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, that's a Space Needle that somebody's done some manipulation to.
Yep.
The one that I kind of get a kick out of is Chris Swenson's. Standing there with a big, he's in a suit with a vest, tie on, with a cigar in his mouth. Where was that taken at? Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah. So, and one thing I want to also make clear about the portraits that are on the website that are available to see right now, these portraits are what we call our secondary images. These are the portraits that we've shared online and that we've put on our social. They're here on our website, but these are not the portraits that are going to be in the book.
Okay.
So there's another set of images of all these people that will be in the book. The picture of Chris was taken. So Chris was a welder while he was also making music and doing things. He was in Big Saint Ink and he was managing Flop, but he was a welder also. And so that portrait was taken down in Georgetown area, close to where the welding shop that he used to work at.
Okay.
Hey guys, I'm going to have to sign off on this in about 3 minutes.
Okay, so I got to ask you two questions. I got two specific questions for you that we kind of coached you on. There's a great place to get coffee in Seattle, Vietnamese coffee in particular.
Well, I go to Saigon Deli, 12th and Jackson, but now there's two Saigon Delis, so don't go to the wrong one, okay?
Okay.
This one is right across the street from Pho Bak, the Vietnamese noodle house.
All right.
Right across the street.
Okay.
Best Vietnamese deli in town. Everything here is good, particularly the coffee. They make it for me with not as much sweetened condensed milk because I'm a special guest there. They know me.
You're a special guest. Okay. And where's a
yeah,
great place to
yeah.
grab
I mean,
lunch?
I'm a regular. So what's that?
Where's a great place to grab lunch besides that deli?
Oh, well, I go on these lunch dates with old people that all of whom are weirdos and have been photographed. I have like a weekly, sometimes bi-weekly running lunch date with some of these cats.
Mm-hmm.
And we have like 3 or 4 places we go to get lunch. Most all of them are in the Chinatown International District area. Would you like a name?
Sure. Drop one. Always
Phnom
looking
Penh
for
Noodle House.
Phnom Penh. Okay. Always looking for good places to eat when I get to Seattle. All right. Rachel, I'm going to ask you. No, I can release you now. You can go and go watch
Please
tennis.
Release me. Let me go. Okay. All right. Lovely chatting with you, Rachel. Hopefully I'll see you soon.
See you soon.
I have to give you the story, otherwise I'll forget.
I need it. I'm scanning them right now, so sooner the better.
Right. The loud story. Okay. Let's make it time to meet up. Okay, bye, you guys.
Take care.
Thanks for the podcast.
Thanks.
Bye, you too.
Oh, Rachel. So I'm going to put you on the spot. Great place to grab coffee.
I like, firstly, I just want to say I don't drink coffee, but if I'm going to go to a coffee shop or work or something like that, I like Mr. West at U Village.
Okay. And why do you like Mr. West? What is it?
It's a great place because it's got coffee and it also has lunch. And I know that people say that parking at U Village is terrible, but there are so many parking lots at U Village. So you can generally find a parking spot somewhere. You don't have to pay for parking and they don't care if you sit there forever. And so you can go at breakfast and get a hot beverage and then just get up and go order lunch and then sit back down and work, which is nice. It's a nice, comfortable, every table has an outlet.
Oh, well, that's a great reason for the best coffee shop in Seattle right there. I mean, that's just, if everybody's got an outlet, you can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong.
So how about for lunch? Are you going to cheat like Chris did and say, no, I'm kidding. Where's a great lunch spot?
I do love, he mentioned Pho Bak and I was like, oh, I love Pho Bak. I do love getting pho for lunch in the winter. And there's a place I think it's called Lee's Teriyaki in Shoreline that has really great pho. Again, easy parking. That's what it is all about for me. Pho Bak, terrible parking.
Got it. Well, I want to know, so you've been doing this project basically for 4 years, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing this podcast about 5 years. So we kind of same amount of time, and through these times, there's things that are pleasant surprises, things that we didn't see going wrong and all of that. But what about this project has surprised you? Has it been easier, more difficult? But, is it hurting cats? I mean, musicians are notorious for, I'm kidding. But what's been a big surprise?
I think maybe the biggest thing that I've found amazing is that, this started, I was like, it'll be 50 pictures of my friends and now it's over 300. But as far as like a big surprise, I don't know. It's been great to hear all of the positive feedback. And I don't want to say that that's surprising, but it wasn't why I started out doing this, but hearing people say things like, you're getting your events bring community together. And, we started this coming out of COVID. And so people hadn't seen each other for years. That was really great to hear. I don't know if there has been one thing that I could draw from that has been surprising.
Okay. Did you have any events on the horizon?
I do. November 13th at Easy Street Records. Rosetta Greek crafted a miniature Easy Street Records, which can be seen on our website. Mm-hmm. And that was made for us as a fundraiser. So that we've been talking a lot about it on our website and on our socials. And there's going to be one night on the November 13th at Easy Street where we will have it live for people to see. And after that, it will go to a private home. And we are going to be debuting a short film of a conversation between Rosetta Greek and Matt Vaughn at Easy Street, talking about the building of the piece and the history of as many weirdos as possible and the history of Easy Street. And so that film will be shown, and then there'll be a conversation between Rosetta and Matt with a question and answer period.
And so was the artwork itself, was it a commissioned piece for fundraising then?
So we were sitting around, we were having a fundraiser, and we were talking about an upcoming fundraiser that we were having, and we were having a team meeting, and Rosetta said, maybe I'll make something that we can auction off at the fundraiser. And then it just took a life of its own, where she created this amazing miniature of Easy Street Records. And we ended up not including it for sale at the fundraiser that we had, but we ended up, showcasing it on social media so that more people could see it. But it was crafted just from her love of the work that we're doing. She has given so much to the project that everyone has. Like, maybe that's what surprised me, is how willing these other photographers were. Like, we're going to do this. We're going to join you. We're going to do this work. This is important, and we want to be a part of it. And I, in my wildest dreams, I would have never thought that I would have been working side by side with Lance Mercer and Charles Peterson and even, Chris. I mean, Rosetta and I and Pamela, we're amazed every day that people are, wanting to help us do this work. It's just been a blessing, and something that I am very, very gracious, or not gracious, very, very, what's the word? I don't know. I'm just really thankful, grateful to these people for, to everyone for helping this work get done. And everyone is a volunteer. So it's amazing. Yeah. So anyways, I don't know if that answers your question.
Oh, it does. It does. It's really the body of work that you're displaying online, which isn't the full body of work, is overwhelming. And in a good way, by the way, overwhelming, like the volume. So many of us have these things we want to do, and then we get distracted and we fade away from them. I really like the tenacity that you and all, and it's not just you. I know that it's the entire group of volunteers. I mean, collectively, you're herding cats and keeping them moving forward. That's kudos to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And kudos to the team, because we all work really well together. And one of the things that's really great about everyone on the team is we were all working in music during this decade, and we all grew up here. And this is the time of music was important to all of us. So,
right. So when you're not taking photos of weirdos, when you're not checking in to see if their homework's done, because that's what it sounds like to me. It's like, you turn your homework in. What do you like to do for fun and excitement?
I love to shoot live music. So there's an online publication called Backbeat Seattle, and I work with the woman who runs that. She gets me into shows when she can, so that I can shoot live shows, live music. I recently shot Wet Leg, the Waterboys, the Chameleons. I've really been lucky to shoot some pretty amazing bands for Dagmar and for Backbeat Seattle. I love to go out in nature and shoot nature, which I haven't been able to do as much of with Weirdos, taking up a lot of my time. But like going down to the moor and shooting a show first 3 songs of a show is great. And then I get to see this band play for free, which is amazing. And then I've got a 26-year-old daughter. I love to spend time with her, and family's important.
All right, putting you on the spot. You like to go shoot live music. So I'm going to treat you like a musician. Okay. What's the best venue in Seattle to shoot live music at?
I love shooting at the Paramount and the Moore and the Neptune. The SDG theaters are great to shoot at. And I also love shooting at Showbox Market and Showbox Soto. Those are my venues that I love to shoot at.
Now, I want you to not think like a videographer and a photographer. I want you to think like a fan in the audience. Where's the best place for live music in Seattle?
Depends on who I'm seeing, but I do love Climate Pledge. I love seeing shows at Climate Pledge.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, they bring some great acts there. I mean, when I got to see Coldplay at Climate Pledge, I cried. It's like a venue that is big enough, but small enough, if that makes sense. And they've done a really great job. Like the seats are super comfortable, and it's easy to get around the venue. It's a beautiful venue. Sound is always amazing. I do love Climate Pledge, but I also love the Paramount. If I'm seeing a little bit of a smaller band, I love the Paramount.
Now I'm sitting here on your website, and I'm looking at a photo of a dunk tank in front of Daryl's Tavern in Charlotte.
Yeah.
So let's go down to that level, the local clubs, the Daryl's and things like that. What's a good club to go see? Your friends playing together on a Friday night type band. Where do you like to go?
Oh, I love Daryl's, and Daryl's is great. The owner is so nice, and I don't know, it just feels like home there. It's close to it's 15 minutes from home.
So it's close, yeah.
I like Tim's and White Center is another great venue.
I have not been there yet.
What else?
Well, see, this is the sad thing, is that the venues are closing.
Yeah.
That's the sad thing. Is like in the 80s, there were some great venues in Seattle that just don't exist anymore.
Neumos is a great place to see a show. My daughter's going to a show tonight at Barboza, which is a great place. The Crocodile is amazing. I love the Crocodile. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of supporting local music theaters, venues.
Got any shows coming up that you're excited about?
No, I don't. Not right now.
You got to get on that.
I know. Yeah, usually I do, but I did see that John Legend is coming, and I was like, "Ooh, that would be fun." But I think I looked at the tickets, and they're really expensive. Okay. So,
all right. So we're gonna wrap this up. Kudos. This is very cool. We're gonna make sure that we have a link in the show notes for people to go take a look at it. Will there be, before the book is launched, will there be will there be any more exhibits of the work?
Yeah. Okay. So the work is up right now at Nordstrom downtown Seattle and the Habitat Grill. There are some huge prints of the work.
Okay.
And so that's just free and open to the public. At the Hotel Crocodile, in the hallways of the hotel, there's work. Also, the hotel has 2 rooms that they are calling weirdo rooms that people can rent and stay in. And that work at the Hotel Crocodile, which is above the Crocodile in Belltown, that work is up through until January. And then we're planning some other events for next year where hopefully we will be able to show another large portion of the work. My goal was to be able to have everyone's pictures shown in a gallery at least once. It's very expensive. I don't know if that'll make that happen, but I am having a show at the gallery on the Seattle Central College campus on Capitol Hill in February for Black History Month.
Okay.
I'm just starting to plan that now. I'll have between 35 and 40 of the story pairs up there. And I'm still trying to figure out the rest of 2026.
Okay. What didn't I ask you that I should have?
If you'd like to support the work, you can donate directly on our website. It'll go through Shunpike. People might get a receipt back that says that you donated to Shunpike, but it really will be for Poser Productions. And so we're trying to raise money to get the book done, trying to raise money to have to be able to do more shows, and just to support the work that we're doing. Let's see. And I just think that it's important to recognize all the people. We didn't talk about all of the people who are a part of this project. We didn't mention them by name, but the photographers who have taken portraits for as many weirdos as possible are Alex Crick, myself, Rosetta Greek, Lance Mercer, Chris Pugh, Niffer Calderwood, and Charles Peterson. And the people behind the scenes are, my friend Pamela Houle, who helps me run and manage this whole thing. Ricardo Frazier helps as the executive advisor, and Jay Barber helps with all of our flyer design. Aaron Buell helps with all of our social media. And we've got 2 people who are helping us with advising, and that's Scott Griggs and Bob Watanabe. And then a guy named David Cinnamon helps us with all of our sound when we do live events. So we're very, very lucky to have all of these people helping us make this whole thing happen. And I'm honored and humbled by how many people want to help us and how many people have shared their portraits and stories with us. It's really amazing.
Well, kudos to all the team, every single member. That's fabulous work you're doing. I have my last question for you. I've warned you about this question. I got to set the table. You agreed to participate. You promised me you would answer. Now Chris jumped out because he was afraid of the question. I mean, if we're being honest, he didn't have to leave. He knew the question was coming. And so here you go. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Cake or pie, and why?
Oh, well, cake. But that is because I have celiac, and with celiac, I haven't been able to figure out how to make a really great pie crust anymore. So,
okay. What type of cake?
Chocolate.
Chocolate?
With white frosting.
Okay. So cake.
Yeah.
But if it was a pie, what type of pie would it be?
Oh, I do love pie also. This year I made huckleberry pie, which was really good. Okay. I love rhubarb pie. Okay. I like to do rhubarb apple pie. I also like to do rhubarb apple cake.
Ooh.
I do love to bake. So
rhubarb apple cake?
It's delicious. Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's really good.
That's that. Send me your recipe. That sounds awesome. All right. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for sitting down with me. Chris, even though you're not here, thank you for jumping on and I mean, he just jumped in the deep end. I mean, he showed up early. We were talking, he had no idea what he was said. He had no idea what he said yes to. He was a good sport. You really didn't know what you're getting into. You've been a great sport. Thank you so much for being here. And, I'm going to just ask everybody that's listening, go ahead and make sure you check out as many weirdos as possible. The link's in the show notes. And, Rachel, thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.
Hope you enjoyed the show. You can reach me on Twitter at ExploreWaState. I'd love to hear your comments. You can also visit our website at explorewashingtonstate.com. If you know anyone who would like the show, it'd be amazing if you'd share the show with them. This is the biggest way that we grow this show. Good old word of mouth. Glad you were here with me today, and I hope to have you listening to the next episode. See you then.